Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to present my research work on efficacy of combination of midodin with propranolol in preventing bleed in decompensated cirrhosis with a severe ascites, a randomized control trial. As we know that beta blockers are being used as a primary prevention in patients with prophylaxis or prevention of first varicose bleed. These are the various randomized control trials and has shown that mortality were equivalent in both the arms, beta blockers as well as EVL. Coming to the famous popular window hypothesis given by Craig et al. And right back in July 2012, where they found that this is a window period where the beta blockers were showing improvement in the survival. As per the spectrum of the cirrhosis of liver from early cirrhosis to compensated and decompensated cirrhosis to the end stage cirrhosis, we found that in refractory ascites, beta blockers reduces the survival due to the negative impact on the cardiac compensatory reserve. And in this group of patients, the beta blockers are usually contraindicated in most of the institutions. So challenges of giving beta blockers in this group of patients leading to the organ perfusion, challenges are organ perfusion defects leading to AKI, decrease in the cardiac compensatory reserve, and high risk of variceal bleed. So these are the studies which are against the use of non-selective beta blockers, where they have shown the increase of mortality rates, PICD, AKIs. Now, the Leculinia study, till our knowledge is, the non-selective beta blockers are effective for primary prevention of acute variceal bleed. But in patients with advanced cirrhosis with severe ascites, the use of propranolol has many deleterious side effects, such as the reduction in the blood pressure and worsening of renal function. So what should be our approach? My hypothesis were that midodin improves the systemic hemodynamic favorably in severe ascites, thereby addition of midodin to propranolol may allow the tolerability of non-selective beta blockers in adequate doses, leading to the decrease in the portal pressure and preventing variceal bleed. Midodin has an alpha adrenergic agonist, but it's a prodrug, bioavailability to 93% with a half-life of 3 to 4 hours. It causes the vasoconstriction of arterioles and the veins, leading through the direct stimulation of alpha-1, leading to increase in systemic vascular resistance. It has shown as a class 2A recommendation in level B for use in refractory ascites. A study by Singh et al. And on 2012, on 40 cirrhotic patient, they used midodin plus SMT versus SMT. They found that increase in urinary volume, urine sodium excretion, mean arterial pressure, and decrease in plasma renin activity was noted after 1 month of midodin administration. So first, my primary objective of my study is the prevention of first variceal bleed using the midodin and propranolol without the adverse effects in patients with cirrhotics and severe ascites over 1 year. Secondary objectives are the proportion of patients achieving the target heart rate, the incidence of complication in both the groups, the complete or partial resolution, frequency of therapeutic paracentesis, PICD, hypernatremia, AKI, incidence SBP, encephalopathy, the reintroduction of diuretics and dosages, the change in plasma renin activity after 3 months, the need of transplantation or TEPS in both the groups, the HGPG reduction at day 90 and 180, survival at 180 and 365 days. This is my study design where we included the cirrhotics with severe ascites needing the primary prophylaxis. We included the cirrhotic patient with severe ascites, CTP score between 8 to 13, and high-risk varices, including large varices or small varices with RCS. This is the exclusion criteria, excluding the uses of midodin and the beta blockers, obstructive air disease. And then this is the open label study. Block randomization was being done and study period was 1 year. Beyond between the two groups with midodin plus propranolol, in other arm is the only propranolol arm. Routine investigation have been done, ECG, PRA, aldosterone, repeat all the blood tests were been done on 30 and 90 days, and plasma renin activity and aldosterone has also been done. As per the monitoring was concerned, initial dose of propranolol was started at 10 mg to 40 mg as per the baseline heart rate, and heart rate and blood pressure was checked at 12 to 24 hours. The dose was also increased at a dose of 20 to 40 mg on alternate days. Maximum 320 mg was being given for 14 days. Either the patient achieved heart rate of 55 to 60, that is the target heart rate, or the maximum tolerated dose at which the beta blockers been maintaining a map of more than 70 was been given. And other arm where the midodin was been given, it was started with a dose of 2.5 mg, and it was increased every alternate day to a maximum of 15 mg thrice a day, that is 45 total. The sample size was been calculated with a midodin with propranolol. Bleed free is 90% and 70% only the propranolol with alpha 5 power 80. 140 patients were been proposed to enroll. And the treatment was allocated 1:1 ratio, and some concealment was done by Snow's method. This was the concept diagram. This showing the 54. We included, we enrolled 54 patients, and for which 44 were analyzed. These are the primary endpoints. proportion of patients who did not bleed at 1 year. Second endpoints are proportion of patient achieving the target heart rate at 14. Partial and complete resolution, the proportion of patient having complications, the reduction HGPG, and survival at day 180 and 365. The baseline characteristics in both the groups are comparable, and in the blood pressure map, CTP score, MELD score, and etiology. The grade of varices, grade of ascites, duration of ascites, sarcopenia, HGPG, and other biochemical parameters. My primary endpoint so that in the combination group, there was 9.5% bleed, but only 2 patients bled, as compared to 26% in the propranolol arm. Also, we found that the incidence rate ratio, the propranolol along with the midodrine had approximately 3 times less bleed as compared to the propranolol arm. What we found that in these 2 patients, neither the 2 patients achieved the target heart rate, neither the 6 patient achieved the target heart rate, and both were the non-responding variceal reduction when the patient underwent endoscopy at the time of bleed. This was the Kaplan-Meier graph showing that the combination of group had much more better survival as compared to the propranolol arm. What we found that the most number of patients which bled in the propranolol arm was before the 100 days, whereas in the midodrine propranolol arm, it was equally distributed and p-value was significant. And comparing the secondary endpoints, the propranolol and midodrine, the combination group, 85% achieved the target heart rate, and it was significant. The maximum tolerated dose of propranolol was higher in the combination group, which was also significant. The rise of systolic blood pressure by midodrine was higher with the use of midodrine was 10.2. And the secondary objectives, the number of paracentesis were more in the propranolol arm. Other complications, though it's not significant, but we can clearly see that the incidence of complications were greater in the propranolol arm. And the comparison between the 2 groups, the resolution of ascites and the reduction in grade of varices were also higher in the combination arm, although the value was not significant. The diuretic reintroduction and the doses of the diuretics were higher in the combination group, which was significant. What was found in the plasma renin activity with our combination arms, so that there was a 54% reduction at the from baseline to day 30, and it was significant as compared to the propranolol arm, which there was only 2.4% reduction. The adverse effect, hypotensive was the most common adverse effects. Other adverse effects are been as shown, which was significant. The change in HGPG in both the groups are shown from baseline. There was a higher percentage HGPG reduction in the combination group as compared to the propranolol, which was 14.5% as compared to 23%. Both the reduction was significant, but with the Mann-Whitney test, it was comparable, and with the Mann-Whitney test, it showed that combination group had better reduction in HGPG as compared to the propranolol arm. Outcomes of both the groups were that the 5 patients in the combination arm underwent TIPS, whereas 4 patients in the propranolol arm group underwent TIPS, and 2 patients underwent transplantation. Summarizing my research, addition of midodrine to the propranolol allows the tolerability of non-sedative beta blockers to adequate doses, leading to the achievement of target heart rate and decrease in incidence of variceal bleed, decrease in need of paracentesis, less number of adverse effects, reintroduction of diuretics, decrease in plasma renin activity, and decrease in HGPG. 26 patients have been enrolled after this internal analysis and still getting completed. 66 more patients had to be enrolled. Thank you, everyone.